We're not afraid to do these things and be involved in them. We're quite brave in our design and the projects we get involved with. Yeah, so I'm Rosie Hudson. I'm a structural engineer at Webb Yates. TBC London is a refurbishment of an office building right next to Tower Bridge, very iconic spot in London. And yeah, we did the refurbishment works, but my role was looking at the reused steel that we introduced within the structure. It was quite an interesting process. We actually got the steel from another structural engineers project, Civic engineers, and the steel came from a former House of Fraser building in Oxford Street. And we managed to take that steel. Our steel fabricator took it to their yard once it had been demolished from the donor building, and we carried out some mechanical testing, some chemical testing, and some inspections of the steelwork, which allowed us to justify the material grade for its use in the structural design and justify that it was within the tolerance, so the steel section sizes were not bent out of shape, and that they could be fit for purpose, I suppose. It was used in areas of infill floors, but the placement of those steel sections was quite an important part of the process. So when we received the steel work from the donor building, there's the length that it is in that building, and then it gets cut out of the building, so you lose a bit of that section, and then from that, to sort of tidy up the ends, you lose a bit more of that section, and you end up with what we were calling a usable length of steel. And from that usable length, we want to maximise how much we can use in our building. So it was a bit of an iterative process of where can we put these steels such that we minimise any waste of that length, but also then validating the structural design of that. I think it was sparked from a conversation with Tom, our director, and a director at Civic Engineers, realising that one building had some steel that was going to get demolished, and we had a building where we needed some steel, and basically saying, how can we make this work? For the contractor, there was a lot of sequencing considerations, so they had to work quite hard through the detail of that, especially since it was the first time it had been done. But also the architect. So, for example, the steel sections we got weren't like for like with the ones we'd originally designed. So in a few locations, they had to accommodate a slightly deeper structural zone. So they had to be a bit more flexible with their design intent as well. It's definitely one of the first examples of doing it in the industry, but I think it's an area that we're seeing a lot of growth now. And I think what I love about TBC London is that it's a sort of proof of concept of we didn't manage to do the whole building out of reused steel. We had whatever steel we got from the building, and then we found where we could put that. So it's sort of a small scale adoption of the concept to show that it's feasible, to show that it works. And then it's sort of sparked questions now in the industry of how can we do this at a bigger scale? When's it most appropriate to do this going forward? I know off the back of this project, the Engineers Reuse Collective, which we're a part of, has been set up, which is about us as engineers actually talking to each other more and sharing ideas and sharing lessons learned so that our understanding can develop faster, because as we know, we have net zero goals that we need to reach, and we're not sort of on target for them, so we need to always be finding ways to do more.